After this video, you will wish to face King's Indian every single round. The King's Indian is one of the lines why I delayed d4 in my repertoire, as I was a King's Indian player and I knew how dynamical King's or dynamical defense it is. Up till nowadays, it's very annoying for white to face King's Indian because it's very dynamic and not easy to face actually, or to find ideas, and you cannot refute it. But our strategy and our opening's choice will be based on understanding completely, and will deprive black of any dynamical play. It's going to be mostly static positions where white will have a very slight advantage. This is actually part 7 of Mastering the Queen's Gambit series here on YouTube on our channel. More than 50% of the viewers are not subscribed, maybe even more. So please do subscribe to the channel. So you help me continue, you help me improve and add more and more content to this channel, which is, I do believe, going to be useful for you. So today in this episode, I will start differently. I will start talking about 3 pawn structures I want you to understand. One of the structures that we will most likely reach, and this is actually more than 40% of your games will be in this structure. This is very interesting one. You do have the pressure against d6 pawn, while black having no counterplay at all. This is very important structure in our study today. And whenever you reach this structure, you are completely fine. You're not winning, but you do have more than a slight advantage, and you are the only one who can fight for winning, while the King's Indian player will be super annoyed as he was looking for a game to fight and to create chances and to create like a chaos in the board, but he found himself or herself defending a very like dry position. So this is the first pawn structure. The second pawn structure, which is probably related. For example, here, instead of allowing d takes c5, or not d takes c5, instead of taking e takes d4, we will never take. Instead of e takes d4, black sometimes goes e4. So after e4, always remember this idea and have it in mind. g4, a very creative move. Want to kick this knight away, and sometimes we do have a knight here, so we can go knight g3 and attack on e4 as well. So this is our second structure. The third structure, sometimes we reach this position, and now very important move for white, which is h4. Brilliant move. Why is it a brilliant move? Because usually in the King's Indian, black wants to go f5, f4, g5, h5, g4, etc. like pawn storm on the king side. So we go h4. Now black has 2 choices. First of all, h5 is out of the equation, because after, say for example, f5 and I take, if you take with a piece, then e4 square will be very, very, very weak and will be very great for our knights. And if you take with a pawn, then your h5 pawn will be taken most likely, because normally we have a bishop on g2, so bishop f3 and the pawn will be taken, the queen on d1 as well. And the g5 square is super weak. So if you go h6, we go h5, and after g5 we go very creative move g4. Why g4? Normally there is a bishop here, so it's going to be a very, very bad bishop, and we do have a way to make use of the f5 square, which is very weak, while, I mean by knights, for example, like knight e3, knight g3 and jump to f5, while black cannot use the e6 and the g6 square to attack on f4. And if after h4 black went a5 anyway, we go h5, and after, say for example, any waiting move, I take, he takes, or she takes, then we do have actually access for the g5 square forever, like either bishop g5 or knight g5, it doesn't matter. And normally when we go h4, normally we do have a rook here, so it's going to be super annoying to this king. Now let's get into the business. Actually, it was a challenge for me. Like, what can I recommend for you? A way of theory, because this is a practical repertoire for white. What can I suggest? I thought about first about the Samish attack, like for example f3, and when you go d6, e4, bishop g7, and knight c3. But then after castling and whatever you play, Here you are in the black's hand, and this is actually a very nowadays theoretical opening. Like c5 is there, e5 is there, ideas like knight c6, rook b8, a6, b5 are there, so that doesn't work. So let's try something else. I tried knight c3, and after bishop g7, knight f3, castling e3. By the way, I forgot again. All what we talk about is mentioned on a study or in a study on Lichess, and the link in the description. So wherever or whenever you would like to repeat, review, you can watch this video again, and you can download the study on Lichess. So after e3, there's d6, bishop e2. My idea was kind of creative. Like I wanted after bishop to e2 to play a reverse King's Indian attack, like e5, bishop b2, rook e8, queen c2, etc., c6, h3 waiting, but actually it was not great, and I did not find a way to simplify things for you. So in order to simplify things for you, I came up with this. I don't want to say I came up with this idea, but I found this idea very interesting one. It's played before by too many top grandmasters, by Magnus Carlsen, but the point of g3 is after bishop g7, first of all, very important. This is going to be introduction for our next episode, the Grunfeld. Like this g3 is great against the Grunfeld, so this is actually for another topic, but this is very important for the next episode. So after g3, bishop g7, we go bishop g2, black castled or played d6, it's fine. We go knight c3, now there is no longer d5. So after d6, we will not go for the theoretical line, knight f3. Probably the best move, I'm not sure. Here we go, e3. Very nice idea. Now after e3, black has three choices or two. The first one with e5 structures, the second one with c5 structures, and the first one e5 comes with two options, either with knight c6 or with knight bd7. The most played one is with knight bd7, and this is the one that we will start it with. Knight bd7, c6, e5, okay? So let's start with c6. It's actually makes sense to limit the bishop along this diagonal. So after c6, we simply improve our knight ge2. And after knight ge2, black plays e5. The idea now of black is hoping that you will not understand the position and you will take. And this is actually a mistake. Why? Because after d takes e5, first of all, never ever release any tension in your life if you don't have a great follow-up. As they said, always, to take is a mistake, yeah? So after d takes e5, now this knight is super sad. You cannot go here, you cannot go here. And this knight again is super sad. You cannot go here, you cannot go here. This bishop is not happy either, and black actually practically better. That's why after e5 we simply castle short, keeping the diagonal open for the bishop and kind of waiting. It's actually a very nice waiting game is going to happen. Now knight bd7, because this bishop has no great square, like bishop g4 always, bishop f5 always runs to ideas like, for example, e4, bishop g4 always h3, bishop e6 always d5. So always there's something against this bishop, so knight bd7 is played. After knight bd7, we go now queen c2. Improve the queen and kind of waiting, and b3 actually is coming for our bishop. So after queen c2, now black but the best move for black is to continue the improving waiting game, playing rook e8, improving the rook. Why? First of all, e4 is no longer, it's not available. I do have once, twice, thrice attacking here, while you only have a knight to support. So if e takes d4, always remember, if e takes d4, I go what? Knight takes d4. Remember the structure that we talked about? We are there. We stop the d5 push by 1, 2, 3, probably 4 if it requires, which is not, if it's required. So other than that, I go b3, I go bishop b2, and black has only one active plan, which is to play knight c5. We don't go b4, no, we don't want to create weaknesses there. We go b3. And after rook e8, we go bishop b2. You go queen e7, we bring our rook to the game. Rook a to d1. And the only active actually plan for black is to go knight c4. He doesn't have other than that. After knight ce4, I simply improve the rook first. Again, waiting, improving game. a5 is one of the ideas that might happen. So black thought, okay, I will either now or before, yeah, to secure like the knight on c5 or out of b4 ideas. So after a5, I take, you take, and I push the knight away. Exchange one piece because we are heading and we want to reach the endings that we started with, yeah? Having that structure in mind will help you in a great way. Knight c5 back, now I go e4. Why? Because d5 might be an idea. No, you are not allowed to do that, my opponent. So after e5, queen c7, away with the rook, and after queen c7, now you can go bishop c3, you can... Okay, actually our idea is to exchange pieces. This is only thing you need to understand. Other than that, it's just about showing examples, yeah, not about memorization. For example, bishop c3 is one of the ideas. You can wait, and now knight e2, exchange the bishops. Why? Because normally, guys, this is very important what I'm going to say. Normally, if your opponent has a weak pawn structure or a weak pawn, one of the strategies is to exchange minor pieces, because minor pieces are great in defense first, second in creating counterplay. So if we manage to exchange the minor pieces, then black will suffer a lot out of the d6 pawn. So after knight e2, rook a d8 for example, takes, and now you can go h4. It's not necessary, it's just I give you just ideas like check and rook d2. Our plan is easy. The rook is coming, attack on d6. Black is under a huge pressure and he is out of active plans. And this is actually why he chose to play the King's Indian, to play active chess, to attack, to sacrifice, to create and play a very nice game of chess. But all of a sudden, he is here just trying to waiting passively, which is something a King's Indian player, as I was a King's Indian player, is very, very, very tough. Okay, but wait a second. My opponent might not be helpful and might not take on d4. That's what we was talking about, or what we were talking about. After queen c2, for example, rook e8, he is waiting. We are improving as well. And again, e4 is not available. We do have once, twice, thrice, while our opponent has only twice, 2 pieces. So queen e7. And now after queen e7, we will play bishop to a3. Our plan is to play rook a d1 and take on e5, then the d6 pawn will be taken. So we are kind of pressuring our opponent, forcing him to exchange on d4, seeking and heading our structure that we talked about earlier. So after bishop a3, how about e4? Because now it seems to be possible. Remember, e4 ideas should be met by what? If you are focused in the beginning of the lecture or video, then you will remember this great idea, g4. Double exclamation mark. Now after g4, 2 moves. If you take with the knight, then it's simply queen takes e4, and the weakness here is actually great. If you take with the queen, the knight takes e4, and the pawn is attacked too many times, and it's actually completely winning for white. By the way, this sign, plus minus, means it's a decisive advantage for white, +2 and up. So if knight d5, it's played by one of the games, I do believe, so we simply go h3. This knight under fire, this knight as well, and if ideas like this, then simply queen f4, and again white is completely winning. So remember, e4, there is always g4. What's the threat? g5 and grab the pawn. h6 is available? No. Why? Because as we mentioned earlier, maybe h4 is an idea, but I don't trust, as after knight takes g4, maybe there's queen takes h4, but we simply go knight g3. And this pawn cannot be protected once, twice, thrice, and 4 times by the bishop, while you have only 3 pieces to defend. So let's go back, and after bishop a3, black kind of forced to take e takes d4, and now we take back knight takes d4. You go knight c5, this bishop, thank you, you did the job. Let's get back to exchange from here. So now black probably will think that before the threat, it might be at some moment, yeah? So keep it in mind. That's why a5, trying to stabilize the knight here on c5. we simply go h3. And again, the only active plan for black is knight fe4. Always remember, you do have this waiting, active waiting moves. I can wait forever. I can play very nice moves forever. So after you go to e4, I simply play rook a d1, knight takes, bishop takes, knight e4, I go back. I have all the time in the world. After bishop b2, bishop d7, and now again, what's our idea? Exchange minor pieces. How to do that? Move away the knight, like knight e2. Let's exchange the bishops. Actually, it's forced. Like f6, no one will play f6. This is a very bad positional move. Bishop takes b2, queen takes b2. And now, for example, h5. We improve the rook, trying to double, and the knight actually is under fire. Bishop f5. Now, the best move in the position, and the computer says bishop takes e4. But as our repertoire, it's practical, and it's not completely depending on the computer. Here you can go bishop takes e4, and you're completely fine, but you can play knight c3 simply. And after knight c3, knight c3, queen c3, again and again, the same structure. You're coming with the rook, with the queen, and black has to be passively defending the d6 pawn. So after bishop f5, we could go like knight c3, and we could take on e4. Like one example very quickly, take knight c3, attacking the bishop, attacking here, just h4, and queen d2 attacking, rook d1 attacking, queen e5, trying like to have some like tricks, like if I take, then take, okay, fine, I can defend against that. Like for example, king h2, move the knight away, and then again, a threat here, the knight is, or the bishop is under fire, and this position is a clear advantage for white. And again, black has no counterplay whatsoever. So this is actually what you will face the most. So I hope you get it. I hope you like it so far. Now let's discuss other ideas. The other ideas in this position actually at the beginning are two. Either c5, but before we go to c5, let's have a look for this idea of knight c6. After knight c6, again, we stick to what we talked about, knight ge2 and e5. Anything does not make any sense. So after e5, we simply castle. After castling, rook e8 might happen. Probably nice waiting move. And now we go h3. e4. Question for you. Not question. Okay, wait a second. Like e4 is not a great move. Why it's not a great move? We could go g4, knight g3. Probably available, probably is there. But because now this bishop is alive, maybe ideas like h5 is annoying. Maybe, huh? But here, there's a very interesting idea by the computer. The idea is f3. What? f3, yeah. Attacking on e4. Probably black has to take. And now we take back with the rook. Have you ever seen something like this? I doubt. But this seems weird, yeah? This is actually what I thought at the beginning. But then, after rook takes f3, it says, for example, black plays h5. Because ideas like bishop f5, some g4 ideas is there. So, for example, h5 is played. And now, very interesting move. Queen f1. And this position is a clear advantage for white. Black has no active way to play. We simply go bishop d2. Our rook here is completely stable. You cannot go bishop g4. You cannot go knight e5. You cannot go knight d4. You can do nothing. The pressure along the f file is super annoying. The pressure along the this diagonal is super annoying. And one of the ideas actually for us is to bring the other rook to the game, like probably queen f2 and rook f1, and just sacrifice and win the game. As simple as this. Ooh. So this idea, it's recommended to remember it. I do believe you will remember it, as it's a very unique idea, and it's just one idea, yeah, in this position. So how about e takes d4 now? What can we do? As this knight now is here, actually don't mix things up, yeah? This structure now is not great for us. First of all, ideas like knight e4 is there, like attacking the queen and the knight as well. But this position is not great for us. I mean, it's normal position, like away of knight e4. I don't have a clear way for white to continue, yeah? So, normally, we take e takes d4. But what's our plan? Our plan is simple. Now, what can black do? For example, bishop g4 or bishop f5. We go g4 away, and then simply we go bishop g5, improving the bishop, pinning the knight. After h6, bishop h4, you go rook b8, for example, we bring the rook to the game. And this is again a clear advantage for white. Why? Because black has no active play. As they said, black has no pawn play, no pawn breaks. Without pawn breaks, you can do no problems for me. And I have great control over the center. e5 square is under control, d5 square is under control, d4 square is under control, and e4 square is under control as well. You cannot go knight e4, you cannot go bishop f5. You're kind of squeezed in this position. What can I do as white? I will go b3, I can go queen d2, bring the other rook to the game, and play a useful waiting moves, while actually black is suffering to find an active plan. And again, I will repeat this over and over again because it's very important. The King's Indian players, guys, we are not computers. We are human beings. We have a psychology, yeah? Our opponent, when he picked the King's Indian attack, he was looking for a dynamical game of chess. He was looking for sacrifices based on some Kasparov's games, Fischer's games, etc. and etc. But all of a sudden, he is in this position. He needs to be waiting passively, which is kind of a mental torture for him. So that's actually of knight c6. Lastly, and at the end of our lecture, we will talk about c5. It's kind of rare. I don't believe your opponent will do this. But now I have a nice recommendation. Actually, the computer at the first doesn't really like our choice, but doesn't hate it either, yeah? We go in this position, d5. I tried knight ge2, but I did not like it, as there are ideas like knight c6 castling, takes e5, and I feel like black is happy here, yeah? Attacking the center and doing some dynamical play. Bishop g4 is coming. No. I cannot recommend this stuff for you. Like, if you miss one move, then you might be out of service, yeah? So not to be out of service, here we go d5. And after d5, black has two ideas. Either to go for Benoni structures with e6 and e takes d5, or to go with e5 right away. If e5 right away, we simply go e4. And now the only active plan for black, and it's actually not the only, it's the thematic plan for black, is to go f5, right? So how to do that? Most likely knight e8, most like reasonable move. And have we seen this structure before? Yes. So what's the move? h4, great. And now if h6, h5, I'm threatening h takes g6 followed by bishop takes h6. So you have to go g5 and I go simply g4. f3 to be followed, and then maybe knight h3, knight f2. This is a good square for the knight. Or knight e2, knight g3. You can simply castle and play with the queen side, a3, b4. This bishop now and in the future will be just crying, doing nothing. Yeah? Okay. What about f5 right away? Again, we go h5, and if you go knight f6, we take, you take, and we talked about how this square is super weak. We go knight f3, and knight to g5 is coming at any moment. So after c5, d5, again, e5 is not a great move, so e6 has to be played. And now we play knight g2, and maybe you might ask, what if e5? Again, we talked about structures, like knight e8, what to do? Again, h4. The only difference is that after h5, knight f6 takes 6, the square actually, it's not for the knight. We will be happy if the knight is here, but I mean, the bishop is enough. And this is a decisive advantage for white. White will go queen d2, castling long, bishop h6, take, and just checkmate, yeah? So, after e6, knight g2, the only actually right plan for black is to take e takes d5. And I hate this move actually, c takes d5. Why? Because this bishop now looks like in a very angry way to me. Like, what are you doing? Why you developed me here and closed the diagonal afterwards? And this knight actually is again angry for me. This knight wished to be here. So now we do have the idea of knight d2, knight c4. But on e2 you cannot do that. So after c takes d5, always remember not to take with a pawn. And we take with a knight. Knight takes d5, we take with the queen. And this bishop cannot move as he will lose the b7 pawn. So rook e8, a useful universal waiting move. We castle. Knight c6, knight f4. Now this position is very dangerous strategically for black. as black has a good development so far, but he has a permanent. The good development is something temporary. Anytime it will finish, it will disappear. But the weakness of d6 pawn and the weakness of d5 square is permanent, probably for 20 moves. For 30 moves, the position of the pawn structure will remain the same. So after knight c6, bishop e6 is an idea. Knight f4, we stopped that forever. And now in this position, the only actually plan for black is to play for b5. No, it's not easy. Try to be black in this position. It's not easy. And our idea as white is just to go rook b1 in the right moment, because always you need to watch out for bishop f5, and then improve the bishop. Or maybe another idea, which the computer shows actually, rook b8, we go queen d3. This is actually an idea I like. You cannot go b5, and if you go knight e5 attack, this is actually again temporary. I improve the queen. If black has done nothing, then thank you. I will improve the bishop, I will bring the rooks to the game, and we'll attack on d6. As simple as. I do have a clear picture in the mind. Any a6 will be met by a4. And if you go queen a5, again knight d5. Yes, you managed to play b5 and open the b file. I agree. That's right. But guess what's the computer best move in this position? You cannot guess. It's very unhuman chess, like queen d8. And after queen d8, we simply go rook b1. Ideas like b3, bishop b2, exchange bishops. And again, whenever you have better pawn structure, just exchange the minor pieces. We go bishop b2. At the end of the day, we will exchange these two bishops, and we do have only two pawn islands. Like this is the one, this is the first, this is the second. While our opponent has 3 pawn islands, 1, 2, 3. Not only that, a weak square in the center and a d6 weak pawn backward. So that's it for the King's Indian. Now actually, I am the one, guys. When I create this this series, some of the ideas are new for me. For example, this is something new for me. And now I am kind of excited actually to try it in an actual chess game. Why? Because it seems not very well known, first of all. Second of all, it's strategically very easy for white to play, very annoying for black to play. And I felt happy for that. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about our repertoire, our choice so far? And don't forget to check out our series, Mastering the Queen's Gambit Accepted. Before this series, we created the Mastering the Reti series as well. And we started actually a very interesting series, the 50 mistakes you should know. And we start by the first mistake, which is super important. And I do believe most of you will not know about that mistake, even if you are rated 2000 above or below. You do this mistake while you don't know. That's it for the King's Indian. I hope I managed to explain everything clearly, and I hope to see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and see you soon. Have a nice one.